work. Right, this assumption that it's gonna work is something okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to class. We're already in week 3 of our class. I was hoping we'd get some students joining, but I guess not today. That's okay. Not a big show. We'll get ahead. We'll get going anyway. But let's look at the week 3 work. Hopefully, we'll get something done today. Give me a minute. I want to make sure I have everything lined up.
Is offered in New York for a $35,000 maiden planning group. 3/4 of a mile. Few scratches there. We have a 4 to 5 favorite as a result with belt and suspenders. Amelia Green with Floppy Pratty.
Well, with Fun Top Fun coming out of the race, you don't really have a lot of horses that have run. You never had that much to begin with. And while Belt Spedits didn't run great, they ran okay after breaking some of the time. I'm not
Okay. So let me just double check and make sure everybody has access.
Finish at the end of the race after not breaking well, as you mentioned, Andy, and maybe a race experience.
And then let's have the meeting.
A small group of horses that really.
So,
in the mornings, they're debuting.
we are recording. Just be aware of that. We are recording. And
Starts. I said it's going to be blazing away.
like I said, the key word this week is going to be
It's Thursday.
Labor Day. Key word this week is going to be Labor Day. Key word this week is going to be Labor Day. Okay? Keyword. I just want to make sure I'm sharing. I'm recording.
September 18th, go to newbelmont.com for more information. So here's the one we just touched on.
So let's share.
Amelia Green.
Yeah, I mean, second time starter.
Share my screen.
Debut and this scratch down field. How is it?
And let's look at the week 3 work.
3 to 5 might not be that.
So in week 3,
Stablemate making the debut for Amelia Green. Be My Lady.
Yeah, it has a.
we're going to look at capital structure. I'm going to take your midterm survey also. But you're going to have to do a report on capital structure. So let's take a look at the assignment. So the assignment is, based on the information you have learned about capital structure and budgeting, determine what capital structure we should use for Gentry. We need to determine how much equity the company will offer in the IPO. Provide your recommendation of 500-word statement, right? So what you want to do is think about it as if you were the owner of Gentry, or the manager of Gentry, I should actually say. Well,
Yeah, and this race was obviously.
if I was the manager of Gentry, how would I
To
arrange this?
second start and the lessons they've learned, specifically the gate. It's not that the trainer's going to have to take them back to the gate. because they-
How would I arrange this so that I could give the best possible mix of equity and debt? Because of course, that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make sure that when we use capital structure, keyword being Labor Day, we want to make sure that the user or that the company has the best ability or the most efficient use of assets. So this way they could, what are we really looking for? They want the most efficient use of assets.
And we'll take a look.
So that their equity debt structure, which is basically how they funded this. And when you look at equity debt structure, we're talking about whether the company uses partners or borrows money. Now, here's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to share my screen. Let me share it. So here's how you're going to do it. I'm going to give you the guidance. And it doesn't mean, sometimes people say, "What do you want me to copy this?" Oh yeah, I want you to use my guidance and then put it in your own words. I want you to learn. That's the whole key here, right? I want you to learn. I want you to use my guidance to learn. So I'm going to share my screen for a minute. Okay. And I'm going to go here to Advanced Principles of Financial Management. I'm going to go into the announcements. And I'm going to put in example of memo on week 3 Gentry assignment. And here you go. So for this assignment, the most important point is that there's no single correct debt to equity mix. Begin by remembering the financial requirement needs $50 million for global expansion. For example, you could do 60% and 40% debt. There's only an example. You could change it if you want. Your paper should first explain what capital structure means. Capital structure is the combination of debt and equity that a company uses to finance its operations. State your recommended capital structure clearly. Do not make the reader search for your recommendation. For example, I recommend that Century finance 50 million with 60% 40. You could use 50-50, 40-30. How many partners do you want to bring in? If you recommend more equity, discuss the advantages. Equity does not require mandatory interest payments. So you're just bringing in partners. You're not requiring interest payments. If you recommend debt, recognize both the advantages and the risk of debt. If you take on debt, then the debt is going to be something you have to pay. Just like when you finance your own life, you could either use credit cards or you can get money out of your own bank account. So since Gentry is undertaking global expansion, you should also consider the additional uncertainty involving international expansion, and then use these ratios. So if you use a debt to equity ratio of 0.67, you could state the financing proportions. A stronger paper will connect the recommendations of the weighted average cost of capital. The objective of the capital structure is not simply to minimize debt. Management seek a financing combination that balances the cost of capital against financial risk. Debt may initially reduce a company's overall financial costs because of its tax advantages. Because remember, when you use debt, you can be like your mortgage, you can deduct the interest payment. But you're taking on more debt, and with more debt, you got to make those payments so you can go bankrupt. Explain the $50 million finance requirement, talk about equity, talk about that, and what I'll be looking for, if you were the financial manager, how would you raise that money? And these are the academic references. And I know I have a buddy here on the call. Any questions? Now, I'm also going to go into content. I'm going to go to week 3.
No questions at this time.
Beautiful. But I'm giving you the
Thank you.
examples. I'm loving having you here. I'm giving you the example, and I want you to use the example to let me see if I can put this in here. I want you to use the example as a guide to I want you to use the example as a guide to doing your project, and then write it up in your own words. I should write it up in your own words. Yeah, I'll use a page. Put it here. Okay. Right. And there's your example. Labor Day being the key word. Labor Day being the key word. And so you'll find that when you go to week 3, you can also find it week 3 example. I don't know if it's hidden. Now it's visible. Okay. Then I'm also going to do 3 things. I'm going to go to class list. Click. Now you have it 3 different ways, because I know students have had a tough time finding things. And there you go. Now we got it. Now we got it 3 different ways. Does that help, my friend? I know I have somebody, with Kelly, I think, on the call. Does that help?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, that should help. Now, on the content, the only other thing you got to do this week again, Labor Day being the key example, is you're gonna have to go to, give me a nice review if you don't mind. If you don't, it's okay. And go to assignment Mergent Online and use the Mergent system. It's all explainable. Once you go onto Mergent, it's a great system and it'll help you to analyze companies. So call up Mergent. Sure, what that's not. Oh, here we go. And here's the Mergent library. You go in there. Yeah, having a terrible storm. And then maybe we can watch this together. Could you see this, Kelly?
Yes, I can.
Great. Right, so, I will memorialize this in a, I will memorialize this in a, YouTube, so you have the ability to watch it. And any questions? Any questions? Kelly, any questions?
Sorry, I'm having a lag in my system. No questions, thank you.
All right, so I'll see you next week, but you will have a YouTube so you can watch this again, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
And thank you for coming. Thank you for attending. I greatly appreciate it.
You have a great day.
You too, bye.